So, good morning, and thank you for joining us for the College Bound Scholarship presentation. I am Mrs. Rippey. I'm the College and Career Counselor.
And I am Mr. Flieger. I am the freshman counselor that'll be hanging out with you guys for the next 4 years. Along with Mrs. Rippey, it's a pleasure to have you guys on today. And we're going to just run through some information about College Bound Scholarships. And like Mrs. Rippey said, if you have questions, feel free to stop us at any time or put it into the chat and we'll answer them as quick as we can.
Okay, so did you know that on average, and when we talk about college graduates, we're not just talking about four-year college graduates. We're talking about people who earn some sort of post-secondary training education. That could be a certification like mechanic, welding, an apprenticeship. It could be a 2-year degree. It could be a 4-year degree. It could be a master's or a doctorate degree. So we use the term college loosely to represent post-secondary, secondary being high school, post-secondary training and education. So did you know that people or students who get some sort of training or education after high school live longer, healthier lives, are more likely to stay employed, are more likely to enjoy their work, can change their careers more easily, and on average earn $20,000 more a year than high school graduates. So students who are entering the workforce with just a high school diploma.
20,000, that's a lot.
What is the College Bound Scholarship and what does it cover? So students who are eligible for the College Bound Scholarship would have signed up in 7th or 8th grade. So if your counselor sent some paperwork to you or your parents contacted, usually the students who are eligible for free and reduced lunch in 7th or 8th grade are notified of this scholarship opportunity and are given the paperwork to sign up. If because of COVID, you weren't contacted in the spring of your 8th grade year, there's still time to sign up for that. So I know we have counselors working on contacting those students to make sure that they're signed up to qualify. So what it is a guarantee from Washington State to pay college tuition. And when we say college tuition, we're talking about Washington colleges. We'll show you a list of schools in a little bit. And you have to, in order to qualify, you have to graduate from a Washington State high school with a cumulative 2.0 GPA or higher. You have to have no felony convictions, and you have to apply for financial aid by completing the FAFSA, which is the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, or the WASFA, which is the Washington Application for State Financial Aid, in October of your senior year. So you don't need to worry about those things now. We just mentioned them so that you've heard those terms before, put them in the back of your brain. Senior year, will remind you again that you need to do those things in order to access your scholarship. And you have to be income eligible as determined by the college with the information from your FAFSA. So the same way that you qualified in 7th or 8th grade with the income of your family, it's based on the amount of income from your parents and then the number of people that live in your house. So those numbers are used again in your senior year to make sure that you're still meeting the same income requirements to qualify for the scholarship. And what can happen is sometimes some students don't qualify their senior year. Like when you fill out your FAFSA, maybe finances have changed and parents are earning more money. And so you don't meet the income qualifications for your freshman year in high school, but maybe a parent loses a job or something happens. You have a lot of medical bills, something changes, and your sophomore year in college, your finances are dramatically different. And so you can come in and out of eligibility for the College Bound Scholarship. It's not something that if you qualify for the first year, you're definitely going to qualify for every year, or if you don't qualify the first year, you're not going to qualify any of the other years. You can come in and out of eligibility, and The scholarship is good for 5 years. So if you decide to take a year break at any point, you can come back and still have those funds accessible to you, but it doesn't cover 5 years of school. So you're eligible for 5 years, but it only covers 4 years of tuition. So here's an example of what the award looks like. The amount that you're seeing are based on the 2019-2020 school year for the colleges. And these are just the tuition amounts. Usually colleges, you're going to see a more expensive amount because they're going to include the cost of books. They're going to include the cost of room and board. This scholarship covers tuition only, but it's definitely a huge chunk of what you're going to pay to go to college. And if you look down here, you see the private four-year colleges and universities. Based on other special programs that some private colleges and universities have, that award amount could be significantly more. So here are some examples of colleges and training programs that the College Bound Scholarship works at. If you have a specific place that you're thinking about going to school, go to their website and you can see if that college or training program is listed on the College Bound Scholarship website, and you can see if that program accepts the College Bound Scholarship. One thing to make note of, all of these colleges and training programs are located in Washington State. So you do need to remain in Washington State in order to access your scholarship. So one special thing that we talked about, that some private universities and colleges have special programs for college-bound scholarship students if you meet additional requirements. So these additional requirements are a higher GPA. Traditional college-bound scholarship students have to have a 2.0 or higher GPA. These colleges are saying if you, at Whitworth, if you apply to Whitworth, you're a college-bound scholarship student and you have a 3.25 cumulative GPA or higher, they're going to cover 100% of your tuition, which is approximately $45,000 per year. PLU is Pacific Lutheran University over on the west side, Seattle area. And if you have a 3.3 cumulative GPA or higher, they're going to cover 100% of your tuition. And then Seattle University in Seattle is the same situation where if you have a 3.5 cumulative GPA or higher, they're going to cover 100% of your tuition. Gonzaga has something similar. They don't recognize it as the College Bound Scholarship. It's technically a grant that they use to cover that amount, but there is the same outstanding agreement where if you have, I believe Gonzaga is a 3.5 GPA as well. If you have a certain GPA, then they're going to cover 100% of your tuition. Take it away, Mr. Flieger.
Thank you so much. Hey, I put a link on there. I feel like I got feedback going for some reason. Put a link in the chat, and that is to explore schools, whether it be 2-year, 4-year. If you want to take a look at the schools in Washington that'll apply with this college-bound scholarship. On the slide 7, you'll see a lot of words on here that just talks about responsibility to me. It's super important starting in 9th grade all the way through 12th grade to not take a break. Having a bad quarter or a bad semester or a bad year could potentially knock you out of having the opportunity to take advantage of the college-bound scholarship. So I just encourage you guys to, even though it's virtual right now, to log in every day, to ask questions, to access PowerSchool, to make sure that you're clicking on your grades, to make sure that assignments are being turned in so that you maintain at least the 2.0, if not better. As you go through high school, In addition to the college bound, the better you do in school gives you just that much more of an opportunity with colleges in Washington state to continue to get more money even above and beyond. The scholarship college bound provides a lot of money, but some schools can even be a little bit more expensive, or there may be things like books or rent or housing that you need. So really it's based off of how you perform over these next 4 years. So in that, remember your resources. If you struggle at all with grades, resources can be myself as a school counselor and Mrs. Rippey as an academic college advisor, not college, but a career advisor here for University High School. Use us, ask questions, Zoom with us, or email us if you have any concerns about grades, what's going on online, or when we come back to school. If you're having issues, just always access us, because we're a wealth of knowledge for you. Again, don't be afraid to talk with your teachers also. Many times it's kind of awkward to talk with teachers about what's going on, whether it's assignments or tests, but just use them as a resource. They want you to be successful in class, just like we do. Power School, like I said a little bit earlier, it's a great opportunity for you and your parents to go in and track your progress. And then also in your TAP classes, we're doing Zello. And you want to make sure to connect with your TAP teachers if you're not understanding this either. Again, Zello is just a great opportunity for you to explore your interests and how it's going to relate to what you want to be post-secondary. It's going to ask a lot of questions and have a lot of opportunities for you to go in and make decisions. Because when I ask ninth graders, typically at this point in their life, they're like, I'm really not sure what I want to be. This guides you to particular areas of strengths that you would have to then go to college and be successful in a particular career. So make sure to take Zello seriously. The more seriously you take it, the more well grounded you'll be as far as grabbing the correct career in your life. With Zello, it's going to prompt you to save colleges, take a look at programs. Again, save those, have conversations with teachers, counselors, parents about what you want to be over the next 4 years. And in addition to the college bound, like I was saying, take a look at the resources that are going to be available your junior and senior year. And that's exploring other scholarships, sometimes through sports, academics, clubs. We have many opportunities that we'll post online through the UHI website that will talk about other options to gain free money so that you guys can be successful when you go to college and it's not such a financial burden. And I think that's it for slide 7.
Okay, with that being said, are there any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself, type questions in the chat. Mr. Flieger will let me know if there's any questions in the chat. While we're waiting for that, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.